Welcome everybody. So today I want to show you how to roll out a slab, and at the end of the video I'm going to show you some common mistakes that students make. So the first thing you need is to gather all your materials. So that is a canvas, that is 2 sticks that are 1/4 inch thick, and a rolling pin depending on the size that you need, and then a chunk of clay. And you will also need your rib, which is the smoothing tool. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is completely unfold the canvas. If you have a giant piece of canvas, don't fold it in half. Just let it flow over the edge of the table because you want to make sure your slab's nice and even. Then your 2 sticks are going to go on the side. Now, choosing your clay is actually really important for this. If most students, the biggest mistake they make is they try to make a giant slab when they only need a little baby slab. This is gonna take 15 minutes to make, and you're probably not gonna roll it out all the way flat, but most of our slabs you only need like this much clay, and this will take a couple minutes. So you're gonna set the clay down in the middle of the sticks, and I generally stand while I'm doing this, and I try to work as close to me as possible so that I can use my full body weight, because you, no matter how teeny tiny you are gonna be heavier than this 2 pounds of clay. So now my next step is I'm gonna push the clay down just a little bit flat. It's still pretty thick. I didn't flatten it as far as the sticks are. I'm gonna recheck that my sticks are close to the clay, and then I'm gonna use my rolling pin, and I'm gonna start in the middle and roll away from myself, and I'm gonna make sure that it's balanced on the sticks. So I'll give a little wobble, roll forward. I'm gonna set this to the side, and then I'm gonna flip the clay over. Start in the middle, wobble, roll forward, set this to the side, and now depending on whether I want a long skinny slab or if I want a wider slab, I can either flip this again like that, or if I want a wider slab, I can rotate it and continue rolling it out this way. Do keep track of your rolling pin though. These things are heavy. That would break your toe or someone else's toe. Make sure it's on the table and not gonna fall off, okay? So once you have been rolling your slab for a little while, roll a little bit, and you're continuing to flip it over, and you feel like it's starting to get flat, you need to know when you are done. So the easiest way to figure out if you are done is to watch the edge of your clay and see if it's still moving when you very freshly flip it over, okay? So watch this edge of the clay. If I roll this, see how the clay still moves, okay? If I freshly flip this over, my clay is still moving on this side, so I know I'm not flat yet. But if I flip this over one more time, when I roll, see how it was just a tiny little baby move? And if I flip it over one more time, see how it didn't move at all? That's how I know that it's fully flat and is ready for smoothing. So I'm just gonna use my rib at an angle and smooth it all out. Okay, so now for some common mistakes. So the first thing that tends to happen is students will make a slab that doesn't quite fit the template that they need. So like if I was trying to fit this on here, you can see this doesn't fit. Even if I try to shove it, this part of the template still doesn't quite fit. No matter how I add this on here, there's always gonna be template off of it. So if that happens to you, instead of crumpling the whole thing and trying to restart, if you have extra clay, you'll trim off a little bit of extra, figure out where it needs to go, and you want to overlap a significant amount. If you try to do it edge to edge, you'll create a weak point. But if you flip it over a lot and gently blend the edge like this, then you can finish rolling it out, and that will give you enough clay to be able to fit this. So just finish rolling it out like we did before. Another common mistake over here is when students fold the canvas or they leave a wrinkle in the canvas, this is what happens to the clay. Right here, like that. If this happens to you and it's just a small amount, you can take a little bit of clay, roll a little baby coil, fill it in, and smooth on each side, and then roll it out again, okay? The best way to not do this is to make sure that you don't fold your canvas over and pull it tight when you flip it over. So you're just kind of pulling it to make sure there's no wrinkles, okay? The last one that tends to happen is students aren't paying attention to where the sticks are. So sometimes they'll have one side of the rolling pin is on one stick, but it's not on the other. If you're rolling like this, or if you're like, oh no, I need to make it wider, and you roll like this, then you're gonna end up with this really, really skinny edge that is significantly thinner than the stick, and that's gonna break. So making sure your rolling pin is balanced on the stick is super important. All right, so that is how you roll a slab in our class the easiest way possible. Usually takes 1 to 2 minutes, and some common mistakes and how to fix it. Happy making.